Have you ever witnessed an attorney go completely ballistic and lose it while in court? In July of 1988, I worked at a financial advisory firm, and I had a pay cut at work, along with all my coworkers the previous January after the stock markets crashed in October 1987. To add to my financial pressures, interest rates had increased significantly, and I'd split up with my girlfriend the previous December, leaving me paying the mortgage alone. I was broke and couldn't afford to go anywhere on vacation, but still had my leave from work to use, so I spent 2 weeks working as a motorcycle dispatch, which is basically just a mailman on a bike. I could use the extra money, plus I figured my job wouldn't last much longer, maybe even go full-time on this if I ended up unemployed. It went okay until the last day of my 2-week stint. A fellow rider was knocked off her bike by a car driver. Fortunately, she wasn't seriously injured, but her bike was badly damaged. A cop showed up but made no attempt to investigate the incident. He was plainly more interested in chatting up the female car driver, despite the fact that she was an attractive blonde, albeit a lousy driver, in her early 20s, and he was a larger, middle-aged police sergeant around twice her age. I asked him whether he planned on doing his job and charging the driver who caused the accident. He told me F off or I'll find something to nick you for. I got on my bike and started to ride away. Straight away, he flicked over the engine kill switch and said he was charging me with causing excessive noise. He wrote me a $12 ticket, around $45. Today I saw from the ticket his name was Sergeant Horax. I went to the police station garage there and asked the engineer in charge to carry out a noise test on my bike. It was a Suzuki on standard mufflers, so I knew it was legal. The engineer confirmed it was fine and asked why I wanted it tested. I told him the story. He advised me to see a senior officer who'd probably withdraw the ticket. So I went, saw an inspector, and went through what had happened. Who was the officer? He asked. I told him, put all this in writing and we'll scratch the ticket. He said, a good result, I thought. I went home and wrote a letter. That came a reply saying the police would not waive the penalty and I either pay it or elect to go to court. So I elected to go to court. I was given a hearing date for the following January. As I'd expected, I'd been fired the previous month and was working as a mailman, barman, and bouncer until something better came along. My hearing came up and I was defending myself. I couldn't afford a lawyer, but I wasn't worried. I defended myself successfully when I was 16 on a BS breach of the peace charge brought by another lying cop. But that's another story. Horax told his story and I told mine. The prosecutor was Ronnie Tiemann, an old hand in the courts and a partner in his own firm. Even so, his case wasn't making any headway, so he tried inventing some evidence. The exchange went like this. He goes, so, you said you were annoyed with the sergeant because he was giving the lady driver an easy ride. I replied, I said, no such thing. Those are your words, not mine. Oh yes, you did. And you said you got on your bike and revved the engine because you were annoyed with Sergeant Horax. Ronnie said, I said no such thing as the record will show. And turning to the court clerk, I asked her to read the record from the start of Mr. Tiemann's cross-examination. She read it. The words he alleged weren't there, but he tried acting as though the previous 10 minutes hadn't happened and went off on a new tack. Whoa, Mr. Tiemann, I said, interrupting him. You just tried to fabricate a piece of evidence. I think you should apologize to the bench for trying to mislead the court. Ronnie went ballistic. I can't remember his precise words because he was almost incoherent, but the gist of it was on the prosecutor and you're the defendant. You just answer my bloody questions. His face was reddish purple and the spit was flying. For a moment I was worried that the guy was going to have a heart attack. The clerk of the court, meanwhile, was stuffing his handkerchief in his own mouth to stop himself laughing. Fortunately, Ronnie didn't have a heart attack, but he doomed his case. I won and was awarded $80 of costs against the police for lost earnings. Horax got a dressing down from the bench as a malicious liar. When the court had pretty much emptied, the clerk came to me and said, I can't effing believe how much money the police have wasted bringing you to court for this crap. He was right. It was a disgrace. The lesson was clear though, as I'd already learned 9 years before.